She thought she rented a dream apartment, but someone else was sleeping beside her every night. Ejiro stared at the ceiling of her room in the NYSC lodge, her fingers laced over her chest. Outside, Abuja's early morning buzz was already in motion. The sound of motorcycles, women hawking bread, and horns from impatient drivers trying to beat the sun. But her heart wasn't in any of it. 7 months into her service year, and the thought had taken root too deep to pull out. She wasn't going back to Delta State. She reached for her phone, her fingers trembling slightly as she dialed her mother's number. The woman picked on the second ring.
Ejiro, I hope everything is alright. Mommy, I've made up my mind. I want to stay back in Abuja.
There was silence.
Ejiro, don't start. You've served your country. Come back home. We will find you something here. Maybe even in Asaba. No, Mommy, I want to build here. I want to work. I'll find a job and take care of you and the twins.
Her mother sighed, a long, tired breath of a woman who had seen life crush dreams more than once.
Do you have anywhere to stay? I'm already house hunting. There's this agent I found online. He showed me a place. It's small, but it's neat.
Her voice dropped to a pleading whisper.
Mommy, I need just 30,000 naira to complete the rent.
Another silence. That 30,000 naira wasn't lying idle. It was her mother's last stock-up money from the palm nut trade, a trade that kept their small home fed. But she agreed. The next morning, the alert came in. Ejiro called instantly.
Thank you, Mommy. I won't forget this. God bless you. Be careful, Ejiro. Abuja is not home. Pray always.
Ejiro moved into the apartment a week after her passing out parade. The house sat in the middle of a dusty but peaceful compound, tucked within a quiet district just outside town. The neighborhood was modest, unfinished buildings, dusty footpaths, scattered shops, but the apartment itself was clean. Painted walls, a working fan, even a wardrobe. She felt proud. With the help of 2 bikemen, she moved in her few belongings: a small mattress, a plastic drawer, a portable gas cooker, and a bag of clothes. It wasn't much, but it was hers. She spent the rest of the day arranging, folding her clothes, cleaning the floor twice just to be sure. By nightfall, the compound was quiet and still. She turned off the bulb and lay on her mattress, facing the wall. The air was cooler than usual. Her eyes grew heavy. But just as she began drifting into sleep, she felt something. A weight on the bed, not hers, not imagined. Something or someone was lying next to her. She froze. Her body stiffened like metal. She didn't turn. She couldn't. A cold draft kissed her spine. The room had gone impossibly silent. No crickets, no distant generator hum, nothing. Then a breath. Right beside her. She turned her head slowly, cautiously. Nothing. No figure, no shape, but the feeling of being washed was thick like smoke. She closed her chest, heart pounding, her lips whispering the first words that came, Jesus! But even then, she didn't get up, didn't turn on the lights, just lay there, eyes wide. The presence still by her side. She didn't sleep that night, not really. Ejiro didn't speak of the first night. She brushed it off like a bad dream, convincing herself the fatigue had played tricks on her mind. The apartment was still. The sun poured in gently through the window and nothing seemed out of place. But something inside her had shifted. Something was watching. She distracted herself with chores, played gospel music from her old Bluetooth speaker, and tried to push the fear away. After mopping the floor and boiling water for Gary, she sat on her mattress with her phone and searched for jobs. One caught her attention, a reputable firm in central Abuja looking for new administrative staff. Requirements matched, salary was fair. She didn't think twice. She clicked apply, uploaded her CV and whispered a quick prayer. Moments later, nature called. She stood and dropped the phone on her bed before heading into the bedroom just across the tiny hallway. It took less than 2 minutes, but when she returned, the phone was gone. The bed was bare. She blinked, searched the mattress, the floor. under the blanket, nothing. Panic set in. She darted out of the room. The compound was silent, no one at the gate, no footsteps, no breeze, just the dry Abuja air. She checked her door, locked, no signs of break-in. She rushed back inside and nearly screamed. The phone was right there on the bed, exactly where she had left it. She stood rooted to the floor, breath caught, throat dry. She reached for the phone with trembling fingers, unlocked it, still on the job application page. No notifications, no calls. Nothing to suggest anyone or anything had touched it. Her chest rose and fell sharply.
I am not mad. I know what I saw,
she whispered. She didn't tell her mother. The next morning, a new email slid into her inbox. Subject: interview invites. The same company, same job, interview in 2 days. It felt like a sign. Ejiro prepared early on the scheduled day. She wore her best shirt, a neatly ironed white blouse with puffed sleeves, and black trousers. Her braided hair was pinned into a clean bun. Lip gloss, light powder. She looked fresh and hopeful. She joined a tricycle to Garki and arrived just on time. The office was filled with other young applicants. Some chatted nervously. Others reviewed their CVs or paced quietly. Ejiro sat in a corner, clutching her file like it was her last thread of hope. Then the receptionist stepped out.
Miss Ejiro, you are next.
She stood, adjusted her blouse, and walked toward the glass door that led to the HR office. The moment she pushed it open and stepped in, the HR manager, a middle-aged man in a navy blue shirt, leapt from his seat.
Jesus!
He gasped. His hand clutched his chest, eyes wide and terrified. Ejiro stopped in her tracks.
Sir, is something wrong?
The man looked behind her. His lips trembled. Then, just like that, he straightened up, blinked rapidly and forced a smile.
No, sorry. Just startled by something on my screen.
He gestured for her to sit. His voice was shaky. His hands wouldn't stop fidgeting with the pen on the desk. He barely looked her in the eyes as he skimmed her file and asked questions.
Where did you serve? What department? What's your computer skill level?
She answered each one, confused by his behavior. It wasn't until she stepped out that she realized he had been staring over her shoulder the entire time. She waited a week. No call, no mail. She sent a follow-up. Nothing. The sting of rejection hit hard. Her money was slowly draining. 10,000 naira left in her account. She began rationing food, surviving on bread, drinking garri without sugar, and every night the presence grew stronger. Her dreams became heavy and distorted. She did wake up drenched in sweat, heart hammering. Once, she heard what sounded like whispering in the corner of the room, but when she turned to the light, silence. She stopped turning off the lights at night. One evening, while folding her bedsheet, she noticed a deep imprint on the left side of the mattress. It wasn't hers. She sat down slowly and stared at it for a long time. The next morning, the imprint was still there, deeper than before, as if whatever had lain there wasn't just a visitor, but a permanent resident. The third week came like harmattan dust, quiet, dry and unsettling. Ejiro sat by her window one afternoon, staring out at the rust-colored sky. The sun was beginning to dip, casting long shadows across the compound. Her mind was heavy. She hadn't been eating much, not because there was no food, but because something inside her felt off, like she was sharing her body with a quiet, invisible weight. That evening, she made noodles and boiled an egg. After eating, she left the plate in the sink. Too tired to wash anything, she slipped into her wrapper and lay down. Somewhere in the middle of the night, a voice, soft and female, giggled. She opened her eyes slowly. Nothing. She reached for her small rechargeable lamp, turned it on. The room was empty and still, but the air was too cold for Abuja. Her window was shut, curtains drawn. She shivered. When morning came, she dragged herself to the sink. Her plates and the pot had been washed, dried, and arranged neatly in the dish rack. Her hands trembled as she touched the plates.
Who touched this?
She whispered to herself.
Did I wash this in my sleep?
But the more she tried to remember, the more her mind recalled. A small voice in her chest screamed that it wasn't her. She opened the door and looked outside. The compound was silent. But Ejiro's soul felt bruised. Something wasn't right. Days passed. Strange things continued. She heard footsteps pacing across her living room at midnight. Her towel moved from the chair to bed while she was in the shower. She swore she saw a shadow crawl along the ceiling and vanish. Still, she stayed, because where would she go? Then one night, she heard a scream. It came from the flat next to hers. A man's voice, hoarse and panicked. She sprang up, her heart pounding, and rushed out of her door, barefoot. Her neighbor, a tall young man with a beard, was already in the corridor, shirtless, sweating and gasping for breath.
Jesus, Jesus,
he kept muttering. Ejiro ran to him.
Oga, what happened? Are you okay?
He couldn't speak at first. He held his chest and looked around like something might pounce on him.
Something was pressing me.
He finally cried.
I couldn't breathe. I was screaming inside, but nothing came out. I just jumped up.
Ejiro stared at him, frozen. The same thing had been happening to her. In whispers, in shadows, in touches. The man paced.
I'm not sleeping in that room again. No way. God forbid.
A silence fell between them. Their eyes met. Something unspoken passed between them.
You can sleep in my room for tonight,
Ejiro said quietly. He hesitated, then nodded. That night, they lay on opposite sides of the mattress, wide awake, eyes locked. On the ceiling, neither said a word. The rechargeable lamp hummed quietly in the corner. Every creak in the house sounded like a scream. By morning, the man sat up and exhaled.
This house, your apartment, there's something here.
Ejiro nodded.
I know. I've always known.
They shared their stories, from disappearing objects to invisible hands, the whispering, the footsteps. They sat in silence for a long time.
We need to do something,
the man said finally. Ejiro looked at him. Then,
let us start by calling the agents.
The next morning felt heavy. Ejiro stood by her window, watching her neighbor, now wearing a proper shirt, pacing in the compound with his phone to his ear. The tension was sharp. Last night had pushed them both past the edge. He returned to her door.
The agent said he's busy.
Ejiro crossed her arms.
He has to see us. We are not backing down.
They both called again. This time she spoke, her tone firm but polite.
Sir, please, we just want to ask a few questions. You don't even have to come here. Give us a location.
There was silence on the line, then a sigh.
Alright, come to Eagle Street, Gwarimpa. Look for Light Cafe. I'll be there.
That afternoon, Ejiro wore jeans and a black top. Her neighbor, who introduced himself properly now as Chuka, wore a plain polo and sandals. They didn't speak much on the keke ride. Their minds were running. The cafe was small, dimly lit, with 2 ceiling fans, spinning lazily. The agent was already seated at the far end, sipping malt through a straw, sunglasses perched on his head like a crown. He smiled when he saw them.
You two look worried. What's the matter?
Ejiro didn't sit, neither did Chuka.
You rented us that house,
she said.
But you didn't tell us what comes with it.
The agent blinked.
I don't understand. No need to pretend,
Chuka said, voice calm but sharp.
We've both experienced things. Something is wrong with the apartment.
The agent's smile slowly faded. He looked around the cafe like someone searching for an escape.
Listen,
he said finally.
I don't know the full story. I am just doing my job.
Tell us what you know,
Ejiro insisted. He sighed again and leaned forward, lowering his voice.
Look, people don't stay long in that house. Since I started managing it, I've seen tenants park out in less than a year. Most of them don't even ask for a refund, they just leave.
Chuka frowned. Why?
They never say why.
The agent shrugged.
Some say it's a bad luck. Some say the house is haunted, but no one lasts.
Ejiro felt her stomach tighten.
Then why do you keep renting it out?
The agent looked up at her, straight face.
Because it's cheap. Because people are desperate like you.
His words stung. Chuka stepped forward.
You knew something was wrong.
The agent raised a hand.
I told you I don't know the full story. If you want answers, go meet the landlord. He's the one who owns the place.
Then take us to him,
Ejiro said.
He's sick. He doesn't see people. We don't care.
Chuka cut in.
Call him now.
The agent hesitated, then reluctantly pulled out his phone. After a short call, he nodded.
He said you can come in 2 days, but don't say I didn't warn you. That man, he's carrying something heavy.
That night, Ejiro returned to her room alone. As she shut the door behind her, a woman's voice whispered from the darkness.
Don't go to him.
Ejiro froze. The air turned cold, but the room was empty. 2 days later, the sky over Abuja was dull grey. Ejiro and Chuka stood outside the gate of a sleek duplex in a quiet estate. The neighborhood looked nothing like where they lived. High fences, trimmed hedges, soft silence. The only thing louder than the best song was their racing thoughts. A housemaid opened the gate. She was young, with tired eyes and a shaky voice.
You are here to see Oga. Follow me.
They stepped into a vast living room. Marble tiles, chandeliers, everything reeking of wealth. But something about the air was wrong. Still, like a place that has stopped breathing. The maid led them through a hallway and paused at a closed wooden door.
He doesn't talk so much,
she said.
Please don't stress him.
She opened the door gently. Inside, the room was dim. Curtains drawn, a frail old man lay on a large bed. His body twisted to one side. His skin was pale and sagging. One arm hung limp, the other clutched the Bible. His eyes opened slowly as they entered.
Come,
he rasped.
Sit.
Ejiro and Chuka pulled chairs close, exchanging a quick glance. The man stared at them, not in suspicion, but in sorrow.
You are from the house?
He said. Chuka nodded.
Yes, sir. We came to ask, what is wrong with that apartment?
The man exhaled, long and slow. Then he turned his eyes to the ceiling.
You see this stroke?
He whispered.
This sickness? I deserve it.
Neither of them spoke. He continued.
I was a man who had everything, but I wanted more. Wealth, power, influence, the kind that never runs dry.
He swallowed.
So I joined them. I joined the brotherhood.
Chuka leaned forward, listening intently.
The price for the renewal was blood.
The old man said.
But not just any blood. It had to be my wife.
Ejiro's breath caught.
You killed her?
She whispered. He shook his head slowly.
I buried her alive.
The room went cold.
They told me it had to be done while she was still breathing. That her pain, her soul, will bind the covenants.
He closed his eyes as if reliving the moment.
I lured her to the uncompleted building, the one you live in now. I told her we are meeting a contractor. She trusted me.
He paused, trembling.
2 men came, paid hands. We tied her. She screamed, begged, cursed me, but I watched them lower her into the shallow pits. Her last words were my name.
A heavy silence fell.
I have never known peace since that day. Her spirit, it didn't rest. I can't rest. She's trapped in that house, chained to the place her breath ended.
Ejiro's hands clutched the hem of her gown.
Then why keep the house?
She asked, voice shaking.
'Cause I couldn't bear to destroy it.
The man said.
I thought chaining her spirit spiritually would help. I paid prophets, I burned incense, I repented, even gave my life to Christ. But it's too late.
Tears ran down the old man's cheeks.
She visits me every night. Some nights she sings, other nights she just stares. I think she's waiting for me to die. We need to pray,
Chuka said. They joined hands around the old man, their voices soft but firm as they prayed. Ejiro felt a presence in the room, not peaceful but watching. As they ended, the old man whispered again.
She's still there, in that house, and she's angry.
That night, back in the apartment, Ejiro sat alone on her bed. The light flickered once, then the sound of slow breathing, not hers, filled the room. The mirror on her wall fogged up, and a message appeared across it in wet smeared writing.
You found him, but you haven't found me.
The next morning, the air in Ejiro's apartment was heavy, too heavy to breathe. She hadn't slept, the fog on the mirror, the voice in the dark, the presence pressing in on her all night. It was the final sign. She couldn't stay here anymore. Chuka showed up at her door with a black duffel bag already packed. His eyes were red, not from sleep but from decision.
I've booked a truck. They'll be here in 20 minutes.
He said.
I'll pay half,
Ejiro whispered. There was no need for discussion, no more explanations. They had heard the truth, and now the apartment seemed to exhale, like it knew they were leaving. As they parked, strange things happened. A window slammed shut, though no wind blew. A pot rolled off the shelf on its own. The lights flickered and dimmed, even in daylight. Ejiro didn't flinch this time. She paused once, standing in the center of the room, and whispered to the walls.
I am sorry for what happened to you, but I am not the one who buried you.
No response, only silence. Deep, wounded silence. By evening, the apartment was empty. The movers carried the last bag. Ejiro turned back for one final look. That room, where she had once imagined building a life in Abuja, now looked like a grave. She locked the door behind her. They both moved to separate locations, far from the cursed building, far from the echo of whispered breaths and fogged mirrors. Days turned to weeks. Ejiro found a new job. Nothing fancy but honest. Chuka began sleeping peacefully. The nightmares stopped. The whispers faded. Life gradually began to return, but not for the house. Few months later, a tenant arrives in that same house. A young man, fresh out of NYSC, optimistic and ambitious. He steps into the same one-bedroom apartment. It's freshly painted. The windows are open. The floor swept. He smiles.
This will do.
He sets down his bag, stretches, and walks through the small bed by the wall. He turns off the lights. The room darkens slowly. Then, a soft dip beside him on the mattress. He freezes. His eyes widen. The mirror across the room begins to fog. He whispers into the darkness.
Hello?
A faint cold hand touches his back. The story had begun again. The moral of the story is that some doors once open can never be shut again. When greed writes its story in blood, the innocent often pay the price. Not every cheap apartment is a blessing. Some come with tenants that never left. Always seek truth, but when you find it, be ready to walk away. Hello fam, thank you for watching through to the end of this video. Please consider subscribing to our channel if you are yet to do that. Like and share this video, and until we meet on our next story. Bye.